Well, the first week of DCI is behind us. Well, technically 9 days because my upload schedule is non-existent. But that's not what we're here talking about. We're actually going to be recapping everything that happened in week 1. So make sure you stay to the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get on to this week in DCI. When I look at Academy's show, what really stands out to me is their uniforms. Their uniforms are very, very, I guess, apparent. The walls in the background, they stick out as well. And they just generally look really cool in nighttime performances. On the topic of uniforms, I love how the guard uniforms contrast so much with the brass and the percussion. I really like the opening hit. As the season goes on, I'm sure they're going to get that, what sounds like a high G out on that plie. But overall, very good. I'd definitely be lying if I said I really didn't see a lot of spacing issues, because there's a lot of them there. But it is early in the season, and I know that they can overcome that. But overall, I think this is a pretty cool show that's going to develop a lot over the course of the season. I'm excited to see what they can do. Oh boy, where do I even start? The Blue Devils obviously came out swinging, and they won everything they went to. And they made me look absolutely silly in my last video where I said the threshold for a lock in finals was a 70, and then they ended up pulling out an 80, as a couple corps did this week. As you can see, they're absolutely cooking, winning in Mesa, Vista, and San Bernardino. I mean, just dominant performances. It's like children playing. And I would go into the show like I did with Academy, but I know better than to play with copyright rules with the Blue Devils. They will nuke me off the face of the earth. Their copyright team is about as ruthless as max security prison guard. I mean, there is just no pity there at all. But take it from me, it's very good. The Blue Knights actually haven't performed yet. They will make their debut tonight, so make sure you're tuning in. Personally, I've heard good things about their show, so I'm very excited to see what they can do. I haven't seen any previews or anything, but yeah, I guess we'll all see. The Blue Stars had a really interesting week. Personally, on opening night, I thought that they had the most difficult show, especially visually. But their closer was it's very difficult to perform at a high level, and they're just not there yet right now. We did see a big jump in Cedarburg, but it's just nowhere near what they need to be right now in order to compete for top 6 in finals. I'm sure they can get there, but right now it's a good show, but it has the ability to be very great. Especially if they can get that closer choreo very consistent all the time. Oh boy, the Bluecoats. I love this show. This show is so cool. I mean, in its debut, it almost got an 80, which is just ridiculous. I mean, honestly, almost unheard of. This show does something that pretty much all of the shows this year don't really do, and that's tell a story. The opening choreography looks very good, and Sabres are doing a wonderful job throughout the entire opener. Drumline is very good, especially in their feature in the opener. They look like Mr. Clean's bald head, alright? And that's clean. I mean, overall, the show does not even look like it's a beginning performance. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. After the opener, there's a noticeable drop-off in the cleanliness, although I have no doubt that that's going to disappear in probably under a week. I mean, they're wild. But yeah, big props to the Bluecoats. Blue! Yeah, really impressed. Next up, we got the Crusaders, and the Crusaders... Oh my gosh. I mean, I could say the same thing I mean, very different shows, but pretty much identical criticisms. I'm very impressed with opener choreography, and then after you kind of start seeing things that you're like, okay, you know, that could be fixed a little bit. I'm sure I'm putting it on the screen right now as I'm editing the things I'm seeing. But yes, very impressed. I mean, it's just absolutely wild that these corps are out here pulling off these kinds of performances this early in the season. I mean, it's wild. They've had 3 performances, and they're out here pulling off these kinds of shows. Like, it's unfair. Next up, we got the Cadets, and I feel like the Cadets need some more respect. I mean, they've gotten overshadowed right now. They're being overshadowed right now by how good the Crusaders were and how good Bluecoats were, and obviously Carolina Crown as well, which we'll get to. The Cadets are very good. Like, make no mistake about it. I mean, this is looking like it's probably top 6 this year. I mean, it's very, very solid. I'm excited to see what the Cadets can do in Lexington, where the pressure is really on and a lot of top corps are going to be there. So I'm excited to see what the Cadets can do and put on a show. I'm sure they're going to thrive under the pressure because, as we all know, pressure makes diamonds. Maybe the most overused saying ever, but whatever. Sue me. Next up, we have the talked about Carolina Crown. Oh my god. This show is so good. I love this show. I mean, I know I said I loved the Bluecoats and the Crusaders and the Blue Devils, but oh my gosh. I mean, this is probably my favorite show of the year so far. I mean, it's ridiculous. What the brass are pulling off is just insane, both visually and musically. I mean, it's just so good. I could stand over Carolina Crown for days. And maybe I will, but the time is not right now. We've got more bands to cover, but this show, I mean, this show could be number 1. This show realistically could win. It is that good. And as I mentioned, Lexington, oh boy, I am really excited to see what these guys can do in their home state, in Lexington. I think they're from Fort Mill, which is very close to Lexington, only about a half an hour to an hour away. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be great, and I know the crowd will be very pro Carolina Crown. What really sticks out to me about the Carolina Crown show that I love so much is how well the visual is programmed to fit in with the music. It's not like visual and then music separated. It's so well woven together. It's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, we got the Cavaliers next. The Cavaliers, I really didn't know what to think about them when I first saw them. They're usually known as like quick starters. You know, they get up, they have really, really, really good scores at the beginning of the year and then kind of taper off. I think they're probably going to do a reverse this year. I mean, I just don't know what's going on a lot of the time when I'm looking at their choreography. I mean, it's just there's a lot of people missing from the block, or there's just glaring spacing issues, because I mean, I'm not really understanding what the forms mean a lot of the time. It's that glaring. Their music's solid. Nothing that's gonna like blow me out of the water. I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of digging into them at this point, but I'm really not trying to. It's just like when I watch the show, it's just I don't really know what's happening visually. Again, the Cavaliers were another band that kind of got overshadowed a little bit by other bands that they competed against, by other corps that they competed against. Please don't let these bands get it. I have a habit, man. I can't break it. I might actually have to edit these in just so that you guys know. I mean, I can't stop saying bands. I actually have a habit. It's because I did content. It's because I'm so used to doing high school where they're called bands. I can't stop, man. A lot of what I said about the Cavaliers are true with the Colts. I mean, it's a good show. You can tell it's developing. I mean, the difference between opening night and their most recent performance is just, it's crazy, the difference. But they're still getting there, right? There's a lot of spacing issues, especially later on in the show, and I have no doubt that they're gonna smooth them out. You know, the Colts are in kind of this conversation of, is this a finalist band? Is this a finalist corp? And personally, I think they're on the fringe. I really do. I really need to see stuff from the Crossmen. I need to see more from Madison Scouts. And I need to see just overall, in general, more from the Troopers as well to really gauge if the Colts are a finalist. All right, next up, we're just going to go rapid fire. All right, this is the speed run of bands that haven't actually done anything yet. Speed run of bands that haven't actually performed yet. So I'm just going to say, I don't know, and we're going to move on. Crossmen haven't performed. They performed tonight. Really looking forward to it, but I can't really gauge anything until I see them. Genesis, exact same thing that I just said. Just repeat it on a loop. Jersey Surf, you guys perform so late in the season. I mean, I'm talking like 3 weeks from now. Like, bro, I can't even make any predictions on that. I mean, that's just wild. Come on. Maybe it'll pay off for them, though. Who knows? Madison Scouts, you guys have performed 3 times already, but I really have the same story as I had for the Colts. I need to see more before I can really gauge if you're a finalist band or not. Personally, I prefer the Colts and the Troopers, so you guys got some catching up to do, in my eyes. The speed run is now halted to talk about the Mandarins. The Mandarins are another one of these corps, like the Crusaders and like the Cadets, that just kind of gets overshadowed. I mean, the Mandarins have been overshadowed by the Blue Devils every single performance they've had, even though they are clear locks for finals right now, and they are very good. Although they do have, obviously, you guessed it, some spacing issues, some timing issues, a little bit in choreography. It's not really that noticeable, but it also kind of is. With some time, though, these problems will be solved. Next up, we got Music City. I got the same story. I got the same story as what I said for the Madison Scouts. I mean, we need more. We need more. Right now, I got the Colts and the Troopers ahead of them, so got to pick up the slack. Let's go. Next up, we got Pacific Crest. Guess what? I got the same story. It's another corp that is competing for finals right now, that I have Colts and Troopers ahead of. So let's go. Chop, chop. I'm really enjoying what Phantom Regiment has and is offering. You know, I made the whole impact of winning the first event of the season, and they won it. So is that a sign? Who knows? They've had a really good first week, and they're only steadily improving throughout, and they're only getting better. They're only getting better. Don't be surprised if you blink and they're 5th, or fourth is pushing it because you got 4 juggernauts ahead of them. But don't be surprised if you blink and Phantom is top 5, because that is very much not only in the realms of possibility, but probably at this point likely in the next coming weeks. And then really, who knows what's going to happen. But right now, they're probably 5th. Also, if you couldn't tell, the speed run is back on. As we all know, Santa Clara Vanguard is not fielding a show. I'm actually big sad about this. It is very unfortunate. You know, they were really good. And they have been for so many years. But it's just unfortunate what happened. May we take this time to give a big rip to Santa Clara Vanguard. Alright, cool. Back onto the speed run. Seattle Cascades, they haven't performed yet, so really can't tell. Spirit of Atlanta, they haven't performed yet, so we really can't tell. And last but not least, we have the Troopers. The Troopers have been really kind of impressive to me by their jump from historically what was very difficult for them to get going early season. And now, you know, they're rolling. Honestly, out of the fringe finalist bands, they're looking like the front runner. And that would put them, what, 9th, 10th? That's a really good finish for the Troopers. At least where they are right now. Obviously, say it with me, guys, they have some spacing issues, and they have some things they need to fix, but overall, I'm pretty impressed. Good job, Troopers. Keep it up. And now, after all that, we go to the big overall list, the rankings. Right now, the Blue Devils are sitting first. What a shock. Then the Crusaders, then Carolina Crown. Obviously, the Bluecoats have not performed enough times to actually be on this list. Same with the Cadets and quite a few other corps. But yeah, even just after the first week, this is a good gauge of what we're going to be seeing later on in the season. Speaking of later in the season, I'm going to be doing one of these every single week, so make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on any content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.